be its own. Well, for every effect, there's an antecedent, right? Which is a cause, right? The cause must precede the effect, and the effect cannot be the cause. And it's for whatever reason, relativity, they decided to abandon principles that have existed for thousands of years, fundamental to logic itself. And they decided to like adopt some fuzzy logic where you can have gravity be its own cause, where gravity is an intrinsic property of mass. It's inherent to mass itself. So when you ask them, well, what causes gravity? They're going to tell you mass. Well, what causes mass? Gravity. It violates the law of causality. Same thing with life coming from non-life. Because you need you. Go ahead.
Why does gravity? Maybe he was waiting to respond though. I'm going to interject. Laser,
I don't want to monologue too long, but yeah, go ahead.
I just kind of like that statement that gravity comes from. Gravity causes mass. I don't think is a true statement. No, it's not. Where'd you get that from?
I agree.
No,
yes.
Mass is actually caused by electricity, or it's an electrical value.
Well, you're correct. I've actually used this argument before, but in their model, gravity is actually what coalesces the mass. Initially, you do have some electrostatic effect. Like we're talking about, like at the quantum level, there's some type of, because I've argued with, well, when does gravity take over, right? From electrostatics. I don't get a clear answer, right? Sometimes they say it's like an insignificant nominal amount where electrostatics start to coalesce matter. But after that, it's gravity. Gravity is what caused the Earth to form, right? The sphere of the Earth.
Okay, so usually
you are right. It is electrical when it's a quantum, right? Or when it's very, very minute, very small amounts.
It's the dust particles, apparently. Even the dust particle, like they would not have coalesced without the electrical, like the static electricity or some shit, sort of causing them to attract to one another. And then at some point, they say basically it's like a catalyst for then the precipitation of the mass to coalesce enough for it then to sort of form a gravitational force that then basically begins to sort of like a snowball effect starts beginning to occur. It just coalesces and accumulates.
No, you're right. I agree. I agree that it's electrical, right? But they think that gravity takes over after a certain size. Now, I've asked, well, at what size does gravity start to take over, right? At what size does gravity take over from electrostatic, right? Because you got these accretion disks, right, at the beginning of the galaxy, right? So at what point does gravity take over for that, or for gravity to take over to start actually absorbing the mass? But you have to understand that the only way you can have gravity is if you have a significant amount of mass that's coalesce in their model. But how do you get enough mass to coalesce if you don't have gravity?
Well,
you see the problem?
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't agree with any of the stuff that they say, but what is it? The electromagnetic? Oh no, so just electrostatic basically causes the coalition initially, and then at some point, it's almost like the electrical properties. So it's even fucking weird to say anyway. You got positive attracting to positive at that point. I don't even know how this shit works, man. I'll give up. My main contention was the fact that you said that mass causes gravity and gravity causes mass, and I don't think gravity necessarily causes mass.
No, I agree with you that it's incoherent to say that gravity causes mass initially, right? It's electrical. But eventually, gravity does take over from it. The electrical force gets put aside, and gravity becomes a dominant force that actually coalesces the spheres, coalesces the Earth, coalesces the planets. You know what I'm saying? In their model, even the sun. not electrostatics, right?
It
But
collects
but
it together,
in order to get a significant amount of mass, though, to coalesce, you need gravity first. You need gravity. Electrostatics only does the light work in the very beginning, initially the light work. But then you need mass to coalesce. But in order to get significant amount of mass to coalesce, you need gravity.
You do recognize, though, that like within their model, quite literally, it's a case of like unless they had that initial electrical attraction to be caused, none of the gravity would have worked to do anything. Like it just that was the catalyst essentially for gravity to then take over, at least in the model.
Yeah, you're right, and I bring that up to them because a lot of them they don't even concede to the electrostatic forces at the beginning of the universe. They just pretend it was all gravity, and I had to bring it up to them like nah, like there was you guys even in your own model, you guys say that there's electrostatic forces that are causing the attraction, not gravity.
Then become a physicist and prove it wrong. Our current model.
You don't need to become a physicist to.
No, we're just having a conversation, dude, about their model. I don't even subscribe to any of this, dude. This is just we know more about their model than they do.
A horse trainer in order to say that person's beating a horse, and mistreating a horse. Like it's just, I don't need to become the thing in order to like dispute the thing. And then the irony is like even if you do, I'm aware of a physicist, a nuclear physicist in particular, who's a flat earther. Not many of them around. But there is at least one, and he's very well spoken for all intensive purposes, hard to find. And then I know plenty of doctors, or I'm aware of plenty of doctors on the internet. I've never met them personally, obviously, but they're doctors, but they don't believe in the medical industry. They don't even believe in viruses and stuff. So, I mean, we have plenty of examples of people that sort of go into the field, recognize the problem, leave the field, speak against it. It's all over the place. In fact, when you see those people, I think it's like a hallmark of like something's going wrong. Like, dude, if you train for 10 years to become a thing, and then at the end of those 10 years start rejecting it, like either you're borderline suicidal, which I mean, like, or like sort of just self-deprecating or like self-sabotaging in some way, but they're just not they're not cutting their wrists or anything. They're talking amicably about this sort of situation, and I think that's that's the biggest thing. That's like biggest tell for me is when I see someone inside the field start rejecting the field and then talking out against it. That takes a lot of courage.
Risky. No, I go into those. Do you think
Hammerize,
people go into those fields with doubts already?
Please go ahead.
No, manufacturing is fine. I will make it quick. Risky, you mentioned this guy, nuclear physicist, and he decided he's a flat earther. How do you know he's the one claiming? Let's say I come here and say I'm Professor Hammerize, and I have 4 PhD, and therefore the Earth is globe. What makes you believe what I say?
Well, I mean, he can talk about the field pretty proficiently. You do have a good point that I actually haven't gone and looked up to see his papers or his particular degree. So, I mean, I haven't vetted it like what. Yeah, I probably should vet that a little bit closer.
No, I fully agree. The thing is, when in the line of what I do, I have to deal with a lot of, as an example, I do a lot of hiring, hire a lot of people. So I do a lot of interviews, and we get shit tons of CVs that people claim they're the best of the best of the best, okay, in the market. When you talk to them, they can do the talk. When they get pressure and put under the spotlight, you see what I mean? They just completely crumble and just realize it's just like a house of cards, it just look great from the outside, but when have zero knowledge, they just do the talk.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That's
so if I go look him up and I find out what degree he got specifically, I mean, I'll never be able to show you his actual graduation paper.
Sure. I appreciate it. Yeah.
But I mean, if I go find that, would it be sort of more? What would you say? It's sort of.
No, it doesn't mean much to me. I.e., I've come across people that say, as an example, I know someone, sort of a distant friend, and he was like, "Oh, I'm very good at physics and whatnot," and he got. He finished his university and he got his master's and whatnot. But then at the end, it turns out he's shit at it. When he got pressure, he just he couldn't cope. But again, he goes, I'm the best, but
hold on.
Me out.
Hold on. I didn't know there was Globers in the room, dude. Well, I kind of wanted to ask them about the conversation we were having.
Oh, yeah. Can I just? I'll finish up this statement quickly to is it Hammerize? No, he's deafened.
Dude, I wanted to ask him or Manufact told him. Is he still here?
Oh, Manny's still here, I think. So you can hit him up, and I didn't realize that. Yeah, when he comes back.
Do you guys agree with how does matter form or how does mass form in your model?
Yeah. So if you're talking about like planetary development, there are electrostatic forces at the start of it that keep things from bouncing off each other too quickly before clumps. At a certain point, I'm not entirely sure what exactly the math would be, and I think there's no set math on what the size would have to be, but I suspect it'd be relatively small, something like a centimeter or so, where gravity would do enough to keep that stuff together.
Just like each and every one of us has our own gravity, we attract things. Even our atoms do. That's why when you...
No, you don't. Where'd you get that from?
Okay.
You think you're attracted to me? That's a weird statement.
I think that each person, anything that has mass has gravity, yes. It has a pull on another thing that has mass. Anything that has mass has a pull on another thing that has mass. You have a pull on the moon. The negative? It's just hilariously small.
It's pull, not pull.
In the 1790s, I forget who his name was. I'm pretty sure it was like Henry something. He literally used lead balls and a fucking torsion balance to measure the gravitational attraction between objects in a lab, bro. I mean, tiny forces, but still, it's such a huge implication.
You're not talking about Cavendish, are you, Laser?
That was Henry something.
Yeah, Cavendish.
Something.
this is the thing. Like, I've asked Globers, like, what causes mass or
prove the
matter?
Earth is flat first before you call us Globers.
And
matter causes mass.
They used to tell me that gravity
exactly
does.
That's why photons don't.
So then I would. How do you get gravity if you don't have mass? Right.
You don't.
I'm glad that Manufact told him.
You disagreed with me.
He can, dude, chill out. He concedes that electrostatics are the primary force that cause matter to coalesce in the beginning. Initially,
I would say.
But most Globers don't actually concede. I don't know if it's because of ego or pride. They refuse to even invoke electrostatics, right? So they'll say gravity.
I just haven't looked into it very much.
Gravity causes mass to coalesce or matter to coalesce, right? But how could you have gravity if
everything's round?
If there is no matter or no mass to coalesce?
You can't. That's what I just said. I said something that has mass attracts other things that have mass. That's gravity. It's like putting a bowling ball in the middle of a trampoline, dude, and then spinning some fucking marbles around it.
I don't care about your dude. I don't care what you have to say, dude.
Yeah, I don't care what you have to say either. That's why you lost your mod privileges. Oh,
you literally are brain dead, bro. Oh. I really don't care what your
you're not a Christian, Laser.
Yo, go ahead.
Maybe line. You're on a thin edge. Go ahead, Manny.
It might be a bit of pedantry, but the reason I corrected you when you said primary, I would say that gravity is the primary force because it's the most long-acting one. Like the initial forces, yes, and also part of the reason the math gets complicated is it depends how fast these things are going when they bump into each other, right? So that energy is what would be sort of what would cause velocities greater than gravity could overcome. But if things are traveling sort of kind of in the same direction and slowly getting closer, you wouldn't really have that problem. So in like an accretion disk, or you have like a whole lot of stuff there, there could be a whole bunch of vectors acting that some of them would coalesce, some of them would bounce off and fly apart. It's very complicated math, I suspect. So,
hey Manny, out of curiosity, man, can you present or do you know of any other phenomenon in the world that basically, what do we got? Like an attraction force through the electrical sort of potentiation, which then gives way to the precipitation of this gravitational mass. So it's sort of like a small force. Actually, electrical values are considered to be a big force. The gravitational one's considered to be a small force. But I'm just kind of wondering if there's anything else that you can provide as an example that kind of operates like this, of which, in order for it to get going as its preeminent sort of aspect, is there anything else in the world that you can think of that does something like this idea of this coalition of mass, which initially requires the electromagnetic field or electrostatic field, sorry, and then after a little bit sort of continues on with this sort of gravitational force? Is there anything else like that?
I have to think about it a while. I suspect something to do with runaway nuclear forces. Like you get to a critical point, and what was initially something you had to feed a lot of energy into kind of runs on its own.
I'd be hoping you pick something to mind,
but
that's not like a nuclear, because I mean nuclear bombs are also in question, at least in the conspiratorial sort of fields. Yeah, well, I mean, what do you got? Chain reaction or some shit going on, like whatever that is, But like the chain reaction is a denial of entropy.
Not really.
So,
no. I don't know. I'd have to, because all that energy is there, right? It's stored up in the molecules themselves, and then But anyway, I'd have to think about it. I mean, I feel like there's probably something that some process gets it started, and then it takes on momentum of its own and draws from a different kind of force. But offhand, I can't think of anything right now. If I understood your question, I think that's basically what you're asking, right?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I could think about was like rain or something. Essentially, like you have this coalition of water molecules in the sky, and then at some point, it just becomes too heavy, and then it precipitates, and this is what we call the sort of, so it condensates and then it precipitates, and the condensation is then the causal aspect of precipitation. So it's the one thing I could think about, but go ahead.
Or something like crystallization, right? So you have solutions that are supersaturated, and you introduce some small amount of something, and that precipitates another. I wouldn't call that a force at that point, but some other reaction that crystallizes the entire thing.
No. I still feel like even my rain example is not like a true parallel for this notion of electrostatic forces causing a coalition of like small, like little itty bitty tiny dust molecules, which then at some point, like it's the size of a baseball, and then your gravity can kick in, that sort of thing.
Well, sure, but I mean, the gravity's there the whole time, right? It's just we're talking about which forces are more at play than other forces, or which forces overtake other forces.
Where is gravity?
Gravity at the start.
Why is there gravity? Why is there gravity if there's no mass coalesced yet? That has coalesced yet.
But it's still mass.
Holy fuck!
Even those very small particles have gravity, just not enough to overtake the larger forces. Like Ritsky said, electrostatics is a far greater force than gravity, so it's going to play
so
more
why would you say that? Okay, so how do you have gravity, right, when there's no matter that has coalesced yet? In order to have gravity, you first need matter to coalesce to a significant amount that it will start attracting. It will start attracting matter to itself.
It still has gravity, right? Even those small particles still have gravity. It's just not enough to overtake the stronger forces. Gravity is not absent. It's just not strong enough.
You don't even have a force called gravity. You're literally measuring the rate of drop in millimeters per second.
It's fine.
No, No, but this is important because the units in which you're using to prove this is a measure of acceleration. So you're measuring acceleration and calling it a force. You're not measuring a force, i.e. you're not measuring newtons, you're measuring meters per second in drop. You don't have a force.
The acceleration is due to that force.
No, that's your assumption.
I'm happy to call it a force.
I know you are, but it's not a force. That's where you're wrong.
Are you saying that in the sense of like general relativity, it's not a force, or in the sense of it just doesn't exist?
I'm saying it in the sense of what you're measuring is acceleration, and you haven't proven the cause of that acceleration. So you keep saying force, and I've been holding my tongue, but you're saying it like it's some sort of force to be measured. That's not what you're measuring. You're measuring acceleration.
So there's a lot of things that we measure not directly, but the results of, right? Like when we measure heat, for example, we're not measuring the speed, the velocity of these molecules, the friction that they emit. We're measuring some secondary thing, right? We're measuring the expansion of mercury in a thermometer, for example, or we're measuring infrared radiation coming off an object, right? We never directly, not never, but we seldom directly measure these forces.
Well, heat's not a force.
That's a metric.
Heat's not a force, and nobody calls heat a force. So if you're saying we all call heat a force, that's not true.
Okay, so what's an example of a force we do measure?
Electromagnetism.
Okay, how do we measure that?
So wait.
What about when you punch something
thing?
and then you measure how hard you punched it?
Well, what happens with the heat? Okay, if you heat up like inside of a closed container, you heat it up, it causes more pressure. So is heat the cause of the pressure, or what's the go? I don't know. That'd be my one question to you, Roots. Or is it? I mean, it's considered to be the excitation of the molecules such that they want to be further apart from one another or something, increasing pressure. But I don't know. I haven't thought about this before.
Yeah, heat isn't a force because it doesn't push or pull or impact another object with force. It's a transfer of energy, isn't it? That's what that is.
If I heat up a gas chamber and the same amount of molecules are inside that gas chamber, but then I heat it up, you will see on the dial on the valve the PSI or the kPa or the B something, the bars will increase. So is heat a cause of pressure? A force?
Yeah, pressure. Yeah, pressure's the force. So heat is what supplies the energy. Yeah, but it's not a force itself, right? It's the pressure that heat can create pressure, and then the pressure becomes a force. The pressure is a force. So pressure is a force.
Gotcha. Okay.
Heat itself can create pressure.
So heat is energy. So energy, thermal heat, thermal energy will become a force if contained essentially in a container.
Yeah, but the cause of the force is the molecules colliding, right? That's actually That's the force. Yeah, allegedly. I'm just saying in this description, that's what would be considered the force, the molecules colliding. But when it comes to gravity, all they're measuring is the drop rate, and they're measuring it in the units of meters per second, which means they're not measuring a force. They're just measuring acceleration.
Yeah, all I'm saying is that gravity is not special in this, and I don't think forces in general are special in this. There's plenty of things that we measure indirectly, even electromagnetic fields. We put something in the field and see how it reacts, right? That's how we know the direction it's going and to what degree. I don't think that because we can't do that with gravity, just like we can't do it with a lot of other things, it means we haven't, quote, proven it's the cause of that effect.
No, I agree, but you still have to make an assumption to call gravity a force.
I think it's a fairly reasonable assumption.
Yeah, but it's still an assumption, and it's based on your predisposition, which means you're not being impartial when other people are, bringing other things to the table. You're almost ruling it out. That assumption has become a crutch to you because now you can't envision any other cause apart from a pseudo force that doesn't exist.
No, I can envision it fine. It just gravity always seems to be the more reasonable option. And I don't think it's necessarily trademark of a bias. I think there's things that we've done to sustain that assumption and make that, as I said, the more reasonable one.
Yeah, but the way you've justified it is that time and space, two concepts can bend. You've literally got an unprovable hypothesis. That's not reasonable.
Most things in science
religious.
are quote, unprovable. I think you mean unfalsifiable. I don't agree they're unfalsifiable.
That's religious.
I don't think time and space are concepts. I think they're physical things, and I think we can demonstrate what we say time and space are doing and how they're affected by the physical world.
Okay, is there any proof of time particles?
I don't think it has to be a particle to be a physical thing.
What does it need to be a physical thing?
Yeah.
To affect or be affected by the physical world.
This is completely irrelevant.
Time isn't affected by the physical world, but I agree it is irrelevant.
I've been trying to lattice stuck in equilibrium that creates physical things.
No, I've been trying to tell Donk this whole time that I love his profile picture, the mini ninja hero. Love it. And then he went on mute again. Damn.
Okay, you guys replace like debates with actual research? Because I've been watching you guys talk for at least a year now, and you guys aren't leveling up at all.
Same.
It's the same conversation.
Well, not same, but
Tank, who are you the judge of, bro? Chill out with your
You apparently.
Yeah, well,
you feel judged by the fact that people are leaving you in their dust? That's your problem.
Who's leaving who in the dust?
Anybody who's not spending all their time debating and actually researching. Right? That's the core concept that I highlighted.
You debate all the time, dude.
Let's get back on track.
Debating.
For example, when I just provided you a direct answer to your question, how does physical things exist?
Move on.
Well, we have charge structures that create atomic lattices, and we can measure those things. That's what makes things physical. All right, we can look at the charge around cations and anions, and you can use wave propagation equations to confirm that. And you guys want to talk around things like this because you've never gone this deep on anything.
No, time.
Go ahead. Another hypothetical binary to get you out of your ignorance.
Time isn't a word that we use. Yeah, time is a word that we use to measure the difference between 2 points. Okay, over that duration, we give it a number. 2 points. 2 points in terms of duration. Okay, that duration is how we've distinguished or created the concept of time. Time is a concept.
That a long time ago.
Time is a concept. Yeah.
We can need roots in a Discord chat to explain a basic concept.
Yeah.
Well, time is. You didn't get it exactly right, though.
Great.
So just a quick correction.
What bit's not right?
Let's spend 30 minutes steelmaning a concept we all in here know, because I know you guys have all talked about this about 50 times.
Yeah, but I don't know.
This is like the third time that it's been, and I've just joined yesterday.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Sure. So we can agree that we can agree that those 2 points you're referring to, they are distinct, right? They're not simultaneous, right?
Yep.
Right. So
from our perspective.
Well, from any perspective. I mean, they either are simultaneous. Really? So can there be a situation where those 2 points are simultaneous?
Time ultimately is a measure of wave propagation, people. Very simple. You don't have to spend too much time on it.
Time is a man-made concept. Time is a man-made concept. Time isn't something that can be bent or manipulated.
No, that's where I disagree.
To say it's physical and that time can be bent, you'd have to prove that.
I would say the measure of time is a constant.
It correlates with Euler's number, phi, and phi. So
when you say time cannot
literally see that it correlates with the physical lattice of matter. It is physical.
Sure. What I'm saying is that the measure of time, right? Hours, days, years, those are concepts. Those are things those are words we've concocted to give order to this thing. But the thing itself is something we can't measure. Whether those measurements are we use a language that's invented to describe it is one thing, but the fact that two events are distinct from each other, that's not something we just change by calling it something different, right? Those are
only because we never had a universal reference frame or a set of constants, and we do now with vortex-based math.
Don't interrupt.
Right, but you can disagree.
I'm trying to move the conversation forward.
Your next tank.
You guys can't do that. You guys can't do that.
Tank,
I just
pause,
waited 27 minutes.
You're jumping ahead, though.
Over and over.
There's sort of a scale of escalation.
Ahead of what? Of your
of this conversation.
Of what you think.
Okay, Tank. Okay, just, I'm going to address this really quickly. Tank, if you feel like you're more advanced in this class, I mean, just chill out for a second. Maybe at the end.
By a lot.
That's all right. Fine. Cool. That doesn't mean you get to interrupt.
I think anyone who puts time into researching would be way ahead of you guys. Instead of debating concepts that you guys. Yeah, I mean.
Okay. Manny, do you want to finish off?
Laser, Rixie's got a pretty big bias against me, so it's not that big a deal.
I can tell.
Yeah, because you interrupt a lot.
He has a bias against me too, and I just joined yesterday.
Laser, dude, what bias? I'm not even going to that.
We don't care.
Like DM me in the background, man. If you ever if you think I'm trying to go against you.
No one wants to DM you.
I just want to hear what Manny. Okay, well we can deal with that. Manny, do you want to finish off?
Get back to theorizing about your hypothesis.
We could deal with this
last
entire
quick
server.
thing.
Oh, thank you.
I think we can disagree with the distance between two events or the length of a duration, for example. But I think the fact that two events are distinct makes time a physical thing. The fact that you can't superimpose two events into one thing is what time does, basically. It's the thing that allows two moments to be distinct from each other.
Okay, so now I understand what you're saying, but I feel like Hammerize wants to say something.
Out of interest, someone says time cannot be affected by physical things. Said that. Well, time cannot be affected by physical world. Roots, is that you?
Time cannot be affected by the physical world. I don't think I said that.
Okay.
No, you said it's a man. You said it's a man-made. It's a man.
Man-made concept.
A man's concept or something. Man-made concept.
Yeah, it's a measure of duration.
Okay.
But isn't the idea of so I mean, I'm not sure about the decay of isotopes or whatnot. Look, I think the world overall just rejuvenates itself. How it fucking does that, I don't know. But at the end of the day, time, I mean, I think you're born, you die. There's a degradation of some, the telomeres or something at the end of your biology, they say. Whatever the cause of that is, that's the measure of time. That's not a man-made concept. So I would push back on you, Roots. Like, what is this idea that time is a man-made concept? Where
it's just a process.
So,
I'm asking Roots
in terms of
he said it's a man-made concept, and it's not a concept. It's actually physical, real. I'm going to die someday. You're going to die someday. That's not a man-made concept, right? So I wanted clarity from Roots.
It's just
time doesn't govern that. It's decay, right? It's not time that governs that. It's decay. So there is a duration. Okay. There is a duration of which the average person would live, right? But it's not dictated by. It's dictated by environment. It's dictated by all of these things. Time is just a placeholder for what we describe as the process of entropy. The process of entropy. The degrading, this is how we're describing time, but that's a concept for a man to be able to measure something. Time isn't itself a standalone physical
measure
thing.
What?
It's just a concept. To measure the length,
DNA is self-replicating, right?
The length of the duration is what's being tracked.
The duration is real.
That's what we call time. Yeah, the duration is real. Right?
We can't get in because they're teaching us stuff, Laser. Just be patient.
There is an unfolding of the moment, right? Yeah, but there isn't what you call time unfolding in the sense that if we had other dimensions, time wouldn't be unfolding in that manner that we experience it in the way we do now.
That's something when you say another realms or another.
So hypothetically,
exactly.
time wouldn't exist in a higher dimension, right?
But how do we know that, though?
You scored no points with that word salad. Everyone is having dumb listening to it.
because
So roots.
time is not a force. Time is not a tangible thing. It's just a concept to measure duration, and you can't get away from that, whether the moment is unfolding or not.
When you say concept, you mean it's just a word we choose to just explain a phenomena? I.e., it's an event, past, duration of event. We call it time. It's just passage, past, present, future. We just say, okay, this thing we call it, which is not physical in a way, but again, we just call it time.
Everything is vibrating, and we measure time by the oscillation of these waves and vibrations, and we look at that all the way down to the atomic structure.
Yeah.
It's physical.
But what if there were no humans? Would time still exist?
Yes, it would.
No, of course it wouldn't. Time is just a man-made concept.
No, it's not. Things would still happen without us, right? Just like if you die, things will still move on.
Yeah.
Oh,
and entropy, the unfolding of the moment will still continue. Yeah.
Hammerize,
but that's not time.
Come on.
Yeah. Okay,
what is time?
In what sense? I've
already explained it 3 times.
Well, not Hammerize. I was talking. Okay, Hammerize. You seem like one of the smartest ones here.
If you want to go by physics, in physics we define it what a clock measures. That's the definition of time in physics. That's what we studied. That's what we were taught in physics.
Oh, so not a physical thing then.
Is another way
in
to say
physics. I didn't say it's a physical thing. I say in physics, as a subject when we study in physics, the way we experience what a clock measures. That's what time is. Okay?
Yes.
And then it has its own units, like whatever. Because part of it is like units of second, etc., etc. That's what time is in the concept of physics. It's basically how we.
What about in general relativity?
Time is a dimension. It exists with or without you.
Right.
So if you die right now, this conversation is going to continue on.
It's treated. No, it's like a coordinate.
You didn't make up time. Time's going to continue with or without you. It's its own thing.
Yeah, the unfolding, but not time as a tangible thing. You can't manipulate. You can't bend time.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
That's the thing.
No,
That's
you can't.
Thanks for playing.
You ever hear of a black hole?
Yeah, you ever heard of Narnia?
Yeah, I read the book.
Yeah, do you have a picture of Narnia?
No, I've literally tried to explain the classified physics behind this, but they still steelman the mainstream physics to try to say that time is not a physical variable.
You asked me earlier what my problem was with mixed races, and your IQ is the example of that. I'm going to mute myself.
Thank you.
That was uncalled for.
I love how it took you an hour to respond, you big pussy.
Uh-oh.
So before we get into that, my definition of time being the distance between 2 events, I think works in both instances. That also carries over.
It's a good explanation, to be honest. Distance between 2 events, I like it.
Because it's true.
Yeah, but I would also say that in just space, that's the same thing, right? The distance between 2 objects is a physical thing. Volume is a thing. Distance is a thing. Like I would consider all of those physical attributes. Same as the distance between 2 events would be a physical thing. I don't see any distinction there.
Yeah, so you can interpret the distance into a physical measurement, but the actual idea of distance is not a physical, tangible thing. It's a concept.
Because you don't know what hardware you mean by to create a master reference frame to see it as a physical variable.
I don't think you need one.
Yeah, you do. A master gyroscope would allow you a master reference frame to allow you to see time as a physical barrier. This is why inside of these classified propulsion systems, you have an optical distortion. You have time dilation issues with these crafts that get too close to humans. And this is a molecular shift in the speed at which time goes. The master reference frame wave propagation speed. It's physical.
Yeah, I don't think you need a master reference frame to say that 2 things are distinct.
Physical.
Like,
so
we can disagree based on the reference frame on how far they are.
Yes, as they are farther away from the dielectric center.
Yes,
which is where we see atomic clocks in space. They're actually at an atomic structure in their lattices. The spin of their atomic structure will be slower than the spin. Yep.
So if you can prove that, literally prove it, how can you say time is not its own thing when it's been proven to be its own thing?
No, what you're describing is a quantity, right? So distance and time can be a physical quantity, but it's not a physical thing, right? So it's not. You can't hold it. You can't break it. You can't weigh it. You can't.
How can it be physically quantified?
So your viewpoint is everything just exists at the same time, and then once it's done, it's done.
Nope, never said that. You said that.
Then what's your viewpoint?
What I'm saying
when
is,
you're dead, if there's no humans, time
distance,
still exists. That's my viewpoint, and it's
time
been proven.
and distance. Yeah, but that's just a physical. That's a quantity, right?
Yeah, time is physical.
That's not a thing.
It's its own dimension. Time is a dimension, brother.
No, you believe that shit. You believe that shit all you want.
Yeah, and you can't disprove that shit.
You can't interact with time, and you can't interact with distance in the same way you interact with a physical object.
Yes, you can. If I was traveling at light speed and I went 200,000 light years away and came back, the people on Earth, that they're still here, they'd be 400,000 years old, and I would still be the same age.
Yeah, but time is still not a physical thing.
You're retarded.
Time is not a physical thing. It's only the distance, the miles that you physically travel. That's the quantity. Yeah, that's the quantity that you're
at the speed of light. You don't have miles.
To time, you're relating the physical quantity of the distance to time.
If photons don't experience time and it's paused, how can time not be a thing if we experience it but photons don't?
Right, so I have a question for you then. In that case, okay, bear with me and just let's play. In our model, we do have the time dilation.
Real quick, who are you talking to?
Roots.
Okay.
Yeah, the roots. Yeah. So do we agree we do have time dilation? Yes. No.
If we can, I don't believe it's by putting two masses close together.
Well, no, that's the time dilation is not that. No. Time dilation is when we said we got satellites up in the space, and then gravity affects time.
Yeah, GPS.
GPS, exactly.
Yeah, so there is something that can affect how we measure time, and I think speed can be involved in that potentially.
So if time is made up, how come GPSs, if we don't account for time dilation, completely go haywire?
In GPS, that is important. Like Tank said, we work for GPS data. I can show you as an example with the pseudo range, which there's I had to talk for hours with pseudo range. The pseudo range is extremely important. Hence, why you got 4 satellites, you have to basically measure these time differences and whatnot in order to get the proper range. Otherwise, it won't work. Literally won't work. It goes haywire, like Tank said.
Literally, exactly. And I'm not. Listen, this is off topic, but I'm not trying to hate on anybody. I'm just genuinely trying to see what you're. How you came up? No, how did you come up with this? Like, I'm genuine. Like what you're saying, you can give the most extreme examples, but it just doesn't hold up.
Look, just because a clock behaves differently under motion.
Not just clocks.
That time itself is slowing. That's where you guys make a leap of faith, and you have nothing to back that up. We're just measuring how a clock behaves under motion.
You see, there are things I have to agree. Like, when we talk about the twin paradox as an example, it's one of those things that's difficult to replicate. I do give you that. Okay, I said, okay, one stays on Earth, the other one just goes 95 or 99% speed of light, and goes off you go, and it comes back. Oh, the other one is dead. The other one is very young. Even though time is relative, both. And 1 year for that guy is 1 year for this guy, in that frame. But again, obviously there's that thing. But the best example we have is we know gravity affects time. Right?
Yeah,
the satellites. We
haven't proven time slowing. We haven't proved that.
There's a lot of new information you're not allowing to come out.
Is that for me or
no? You haven't. There's other explanations. There could be other reasons.
What are they?
Well, there could be energy state changes in the atomic process. There could be electromagnetic interactions changing with the motion affected by the motion.
How do you guys have so much to say about nothing? Blows my mind.
Literally,
that can be
I think you'll find
tested as an example. That can be
find them on point here.
if you have a clock near, like a, let's say, ground level, okay, versus if you have a clock up on a mountain, then it will, technically speaking, the one on the ground will be slower when you go higher. That's something you can say, but again, how would that support your atomic thing that you're saying? Again, we know we're closer to the gravitational center, therefore there's a stronger pull, if you know. But you know, I'm sorry, some of the words I use, I have to translate, as you know, from Farsi to English, so it might not make sense. But I hope,
no, you're good.
Hope it does. Hope it does.
What? Real quick, what about F equals G, M1 M to the second over R to the second? What about that? You're just gonna completely throw that away?
Listen, just because you guys have got a model, relativity doesn't, and some observations match.
Our model works. Yours
doesn't mean that space-time itself is physically real. That's the problem.
Fabric.
It's a mathematical framework. Yeah, you can predict outcomes, but it doesn't mean that time is slowing down or time is a physical thing.
That leads back to what if that leads back to what if humans didn't exist? Would space-time not space-time, would everything continue how it is now in space without you?
Yes. Minus the satellites. Yes.
That's what I'm saying. So how can time not exist if everything is constantly moving towards a finale?
You're saying it's actually
just like I've said it before. Go ahead, Rick. I just feel like I'm chanting.
There is a finale, heat death, as far as we know.
I'll try to jump in here. I did have to just go away for a little bit. Is there a finale? What's the finale?
There is a finale, heat death, as far as we know, but everyone here knows that,
as far as we know,
I'm a Christian. I don't believe that. I believe something else. But as far as scientifically, there's going to be the heat death of the universe, and that is when time's going to completely cease, when everything is just gone.
Okay, so out of curiosity, I mean, you don't believe that, but are you advocating or espousing that?
No,
is
I'm
just
speaking from a scientific point of view.
So you don't gotta
believe, just like you said earlier. Just like you said earlier, you don't gotta believe it in order to, have an opinion or talk about it, right?
No, of course you don't. Yeah, but
exactly. So I rest my case. I'm done talking.
Yeah, but you're resting your case.
Did I say that?
He's resting his case on the idea. You're resting your case on the idea that because this model can be interpreted as what we're experiencing in reality, then it must be true. But you must also admit that multiple models can explain the same data.
Well, the thing is, my model, my model, the one that I live, aka reality, works and accomplishes things that benefit you and all of humanity, but yours have yet to be proven, and yours doesn't work at all.
Brilliant. That's fine. You can hold that position. You can, I'm gonna claim victory.
Hammerize is definitely
good enough for me, dude.
No, I agree.
Good enough for me.
I'm not as well versed as, like, let's say Hammerize or even Tank, but Hammerize, he's a G. I'm done.
Just on this last point, real quick, it's actually worse than that because their model lessens everything that we know. Their model actually takes away the flat Earth model.
Are you a Christian?
It makes us less knowledgeable about pretty much every.
Yeah, no, I'm not a flat earther by any means necessary.
Okay, so Manny, though, in that statement, though,
I gotta pee.
do you recognize that? Okay, so there were witch trials in the past, right? And if we came along and said, well, your witch trials are not true, right? You're invocating witches and you're burning them, and it's like, this is a wrong thing to do. It's a wrong path we should go down. And then what are they going to tell us? Oh, well, this is all what's the term? This is regressive. You're going to basically turn our society into a regressive society because now you're going to allow the witches. I think that this is a very kind of like this proposition that a flat Earth or a proposition that indicates that the mainstream is wrong doesn't necessarily say that it's regressive. It may be corrective. For you to automatically say that it's like, it can be, yeah, sure.
Yeah, but this one specifically is not.
Sorry, is that your opinion, or are you coming from a point of authority, or what do you mean?
It's my understanding of the situation. I'm happy to back it up if you like.
So you're speaking for yourself, or are you trying to speak from a position of power and influence or something?
Assumptive.
I can only speak for myself.
Okay, cool. Well, I mean, it just doesn't, like, your language, your rhetoric doesn't lend itself to being sort of, this is just my humble opinion. You're trying to speak for the collective or something. You recognize that, right? In your...
They all do.
I do.
All of
I
them.
suspect that there's a fair amount of people that would agree with me. I don't think I'm saying anything that's not specifically an opinion, though. I mean, I can back it up if you want, but
I could be
my understanding of the situation.
I could be a Christian Zionist with the idea that the end times are nigh because, the Antichrist and the Christ are going to come into conflict and it's going to come soon. Like, I mean, we could all say these things. It doesn't.
Are you just saying that if I delegate knowledge to anyone else, then I none of that knowledge can be accurate at all?
Pendulum. Okay, so now we established why the pendulum moves. Okay, now wait. Hold on. Oh my goodness, dude. When I go to talk, you just like have this fucking incessant. You do not understand. You don't understand this. So yeah, I have the pendulum. You cut me off. Tell me I don't understand. So I'll explain.
We understand it better than you, Omni. He understands this better than you, dude.
Everyone fucking stop. Everyone's... This has been a really fun, last couple of minutes. We need to fucking take a deep breath, work out the fuck where we are as far as the conversation is concerned. I don't actually even fucking know myself, okay?
I'm trying to walk.
Do you guys... Okay, so...
How he's applying the scientific method to the Foucault's pendulum. And we got past phase one, was why the pendulum moves in the first place. You have a string, we have men that are causing it that is connected to something.
Hey, you guys are talking over each other. Okay, Rigor, just stop. Rigor, stop. Okay, and I don't mean to, dude, I'm picking you up because you're on my side, and this guy's a fucking retard.
What you think is causing the pendulum.
Shut the fuck up on me.
You can have a hypothesis about it. And you could test that hypothesis.
Omni.
Do you just turn your volume down, bro? Do you turn your volume down when other people talk?
Welcome to the show, bro. Welcome to the show. Okay, we're going to talk this out. We're going to try to work this out. Okay. Who wants to actually take on Omnivore, like a one-on-one or something? Like the main antagonist. I have muted him. Okay, for everyone else's knowledge. But we need a one-on-one or something because this is like
pure Rigor's dealing with him. Let him carry on.
Rigor, you happy to fucking deal with Omni? Are you like a one-on-one? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I established the first phase of why the pendulum was in the first place.
3 steps behind, so I would.
Okay, so everyone else, unfortunately, if we're having a one-on-one, Omnivore versus Rigor, we all need to back off. It's your choice, Rigor and Omnivore, who you want as a moderator. Take your pick. The people in the cards, you can let us know.
I don't care.
I know you don't care, but I just want to offer that up. He may not want me. He may want someone else. Okay, so I'm just putting that out there. As far as that's concerned, I'm going to unmute him. He's gone. Here you go. But I just don't want the chaos that we just had for a moment, okay? I want a rigorous conversation between two people that can sort the shit out.
Yeah,
let's go.
And pure leave each other room. Okay?
Yeah, I'll try and be quick.
Yeah,
try and be quick and to the point with everything.
You got it. Go ahead.
I did ask Omni permission.
No, Hammerize.
No, I did ask permission. Honestly, I asked permission. Omni, he said, "Go ahead."
You wanted permission for what, sorry?
I did ask Omni permission to quickly just another correction. With Foucault, I've done Foucault. One of the things you have to do is no one push anything anywhere. Did
he cut out, or did I?
No, he just he got a call come in. He's busy at work at the moment. It comes in all the time.
Yeah, he's gonna go to it's the string, right? They burn the string and they get it to just fall from a certain altitude or distance, right? They pull out the pendulum and they burn the string, and then it falls on its own. But that is essentially men is setting it up to a certain position and lighting that, right? So we established why it actually moves in the first place, right? What causes the initial movement? So now we can move on to, okay, man created that scenario, Right. Now we have a situation where it processes a particular way. Okay, what is causing it to process that particular way?
The one processing that particular way is the Earth moving. We have a hypothesis.
Okay, now that is your independent variable.
No,
the
it's
cause
not.
of it
No.
will be your independent variable.
No, it's not.
Determining
No,
a cause and
Pure
effect
Rigor.
relation. Then you're not using the scientific method. And
Can
stop
you know?
pretending you are.
Okay, you got citation needed. Show me how that has to be the independent variable. Show me that.
You told me it was earlier. When
No,
you
I
scientific
didn't.
method.
No, I did not. I told you that the independent variable is always and forever the latitude. So show me that. Show me your citation.
No, it's not. Because I could do a different experiment where the latitude has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah,
so
then
that
that wouldn't be. So
the
then that
latitude
wouldn't
cannot
be
be the
doing
independent variable in the scientific method at all times.
So Pure
Always and
Rigor.
forever.
Well, look, either you can show a reason for why you believe what you believe, some kind of citation, or I have no choice. I have to dismiss it. I don't make the rules. I'm sorry.
So you need me to dig up a fucking citation that the independent variable needs to be manipulated.
No, that the independent variable must be in the Foucault's pendulum. The independent variable must be the Earth's spin.
No, the independent variable is the cause.
So show me
the whole
that.
scientific method is based on a cause and effect relationship.
Show me that. Show me that, and show me a citation for that. The independent variable must be the cause.
I can walk you through it. I can't logically walk you through it. Ready? How do you know what's causing something to happen?
So you just believe it to be true, but you can't.
How do you know?
Omnivore. No, wait. Omnivore. You asked him to take you through it, and he's going to take you through it the best he can.
I'm asking.
No, it doesn't matter, dude. Like it doesn't. You asked him to show you something. He's going to do the best of his can. Like what the fuck? You can't.
Yeah, I'm not going to
just telling me needs to tell you how to.
Yeah, he's going to make it up.
Do it based on certain interpretations. Let him do it the way he wants to do it.
He's inventing his.
You can't expect. No, shut the fuck up, Omnivore.
He's just making it up.
It doesn't matter. This is the nature of conversation. Deal with it. Rigor, go ahead.
I'm telling him he doesn't understand the scientific method.
Shut the fuck up, Omnivore. Shut the fuck up.
It's going to have to be dismissed, Rick, if there's no citation for it and it's made up.
He can come up with a citation after he's explained his proposition. He doesn't need to fucking. He doesn't need to orientate his
Hammerize, Hammerize was very respectfully asking to get in.
I'll tell you what.
Save me, Hammerize.
Hammerize took a call. Okay, fucking. You guys are crazy.
I'll tell you what. I am not going to dig up a citation for this. It's not going to happen. If you need a citation for the cause and effect relationship for the scientific method and what the scientific method is establishing, you don't belong in the conversation.
You don't understand. You don't understand the scientific method. Hammerize. Can you tell us what you were going to say?
Yeah, just quick.
Is this an open conversation?
For someone who's done
with caught up that is the Glober saying that the change in latitude is what causes a difference?
Hammerize has done the experiment.
No.
We just let him.
Didn't want to listen to the point. Saying that it causes a difference in precession in latitude, or it actually causes the precession.
I'm sorry, Hammerize.
Both. They're saying both, Don.
Oh, that's crazy.
It is crazy.
He said something interesting.
So shit's gone.
No one's pushing.
I'll stop. Go ahead, Hammerize.
Just a very quick one. I need to rush, but someone who's done it, when you, as an example, no one's pushing anything. When you hang this thing, you have to let it. What do you call it? Is it equilibrium? Sorry, you have to let it hang for some time in order to make sure there's no more stretching, there's no more tension in the thing. And what you do is you don't push anything. You hold into pushing, you let it go. You bend it with a candle and just let it go. And you wait for it to start processing. It goes back and forth, and then you just calculate it. That's what you do. You don't push anything.
There,
and your
Can I just give you a quick cursory result of the search? Like the cursory consequence. Like the question is, does the scientific method require a cause and effect method? Yes. The scientific method fundamentally assumes that the universe operates on a cause and effect.
Yeah.
What are we talking about here?
That's not. You don't understand what you're reading.
For every cause is a mother.
Have you heard my?
Can Hammerize?
That's the basis of the scientific method, bro.
What I did was
the whole premise of experimental science.
I'm asking what I've done is I put a paper. This is what a scientific method is, at least what is scientific. They teach scientific method to a year 10 or 11 in school. If you read it, when you talk about cause and effect, have to be more specific. As an example, with Foucault pendulum, again, what you do, you're looking for F rotation. Your IV is obvious, your DV is also obvious. Okay, then at the end you're looking for some sort of relation between these two, i.e., so the precession rate equals now 15 degree divided by our times sine of latitude. I didn't butcher that formula.
Right, but why are you extending it to...
So the cause-effect relationship is between the dependent and the independent variable, meaning if you change one, the other changes in a predictable fashion.
There's no way you didn't hear that.
If you change your latitude, the precession changes. That's all that the scientific method talks about here. The prediction comes from your hypothesis. So if your prediction says that if I change,
you're already off track, dude.
Latitude,
you're saying it swings differently. It precesses differently based on latitude. We didn't get that far.
That is enough. That is testing. You're testing the prediction that the hypothesis makes. That's how the scientific method.
But you have a hypothesis was.
That's slick. He's being real quick. He's being slick. He's being slick because he's talking about observational science, which is just it's just about descriptive science. Like, if you're observing a fucking orangutan in the jungle, dude, or you're observing the sun rise in the east. I predict the sun's gonna rise in the east tomorrow. Oh, the sun rose in the east. That doesn't isolate the cause, Omni. We're talking about cause and effect, not observational science, Omni.
No, it's not. There's no. So first off, you can look up observational science. It's not what you're describing. This Foucault's pendulum is not observational science. That's a misunderstanding of it. You could say that maybe
it absolutely is.
You can look it up, right? Don't take my word for it. Just look it up. So the other problem is that the Foucault's pendulum makes a novel testable prediction. The sun rising for you does not. So before there is a Foucault's pendulum, you make that prediction and then you build the pendulum to test it. That's a novel testable prediction, which is, I'm leaving that word out for the most part because people are already so confused. But that's why your sun rising thing doesn't have any application here.
It's a crude analogy because I can based off of habitual observations, I can make reliable predictions, accurate predictions. I can predict the sun's gonna rise in the east based off of habitual observations. That doesn't give you the cause of why the sun rises in the east. Right, so you can have descriptive science, observational science. You're conflating that with cause and effect science.
No, you're
trying to act like they're the same.
Look, until you can actually show a citation that the latitude is not a valid independent variable.
Is the latitude independent variable?
You're just claiming it can't be. You're just saying it can't be. It can't be an independent variable.
No, it can't. Hold on. Let me answer that. Real quick. It can be an independent variable in observational science where you're not trying to actually
show me your definition of observational science.
Omnivore, stop interrupting.
I agree with you, Omnivore, that it's an extension. It is enough of a variable to tell you the cause.
Okay, wait. Okay, stop, guys. 1 second. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of dinging bells going on here. Look, Lion, do you want to take on Omnivore for a couple of moments here? Like, that seems to be the main rhetoric that's going on here.
I can't for long, dude, because I'm on the road and I'm in and out, dude.
Yeah, I know.
But I just want to say that, when it comes to observational science, which I consider when we do like laser measurements, right, or when we use strings to try to demonstrate a geometric principle, right, you can have independent variables, but it's not relating to experimental science where you are actually trying to isolate the cause of a phenomena. In this example, we're not trying to isolate the cause of a phenomena. We're trying to demonstrate what with the Foucault's pendulum?
The phenomenon is the difference in precessions. They have that phenomenon, a difference in precession phenomenon. They don't get to say it's because the Earth is turning, though.
What?
They have a phenomenon of a different rate of precession. That is a phenomenon.
Unless the point is with cause and effect relationships, right? the whole point of experimental science regarding cause and effect relationship, in order to have certainty, confidence that you've isolated the cause, you have to manipulate the independent variable.
Not about
Everybody knows
isolating
this,
the cause.
but now
That's not the case.
with observational science, it's not about isolating the cause, right? It has nothing to do with that. It's descriptive, right? You can use it to describe a habitat, right? With chimps or whatever.
That's true. Show me a citation.
Okay.
You guys got to meet each other in the middle. This is so crazy.
Stuff up. Show me the citation.
Bro, you know this, bro. I can't just pull up a citation. This is like Science 101, dude. You should know this.
No,
You're
it's not
playing
Science
dumb.
101.
You said it. You said the latitude is my independent variable. You said it's going to process differently at different latitudes, right?
Correct.
So you're saying my latitude is my cause, right, of the effect.
I'm saying no. I'm saying my latitude is the prediction. My hypothesis about the effect predicts that it will behave differently at different latitudes.
Yeah. Okay. So that's your cause.
The Earth spinning on board. You have to
no, that's not my cause.
Yeah, you do.
You said it's going to behave differently because of latitude. Well, if it behaves differently because of something, that is the cause. You just said because. Like, this is English 101.
Just so you understand, the hypothesis is not that the pendulum will process differently at different latitudes. That's not the hypothesis.
Irrelevant.
That's not the hypothesis. The hypothesis is that, I know you don't think the hypothesis is important to the scientific method. I understand that.
No, I'm just saying what you're trying to go down right now, your derailment
is that the Earth is
irrelevant.
rotating around an axis, pure rigor. That's the
hypothesis. You got to turn that on.
So nail that down, write that on the chalkboard of your mind, and then
but that's not all. You haven't finished the hypothesis. The hypothesis is if Earth rotates, then the pendulum would rotate at a rate depending on latitude that matches the Earth's rotation. Now the problem you've got with that
not accurate, not technically true.
Yeah, that's your then you don't have a hypothesis.
No, the hypothesis is that Earth is rotating. That makes a prediction.
You're not even talking about Foucault's pendulum anymore. This is about the behavior of the pendulum. And the only way to test that is by changing your latitude, Omni.
So
that was your hypothesis. If Earth rotates, then the pendulum will behave in this certain way. That's your hypothesis.
No, it's not.
Yep,
that's not true.
So what is your hypothesis then? Omnivore, what is your hypothesis?
You could say that. That's
Omnivore,
not an incorrect thing
what
to
is
say.
your hypothesis? How would you prefer to articulate
the Earth is rotating. The rotation, that hypothesis makes a prediction. That prediction is that we would see these effects. So it could be a mechanical gyro compass.
How did you say anything different to what Roots just said?
Based on
how did you say anything different? Defer yourself, like tell me what you actually said different to what Roots actually just articulated. Please tell me.
Omni.
Omnivore, please tell me. How did you actually? So, are you just unsatisfied with the fact that someone else basically articulated your argument, and you just want to change it for some reason? Like, I really need to know, bro.
No, because I'll tell you why. Because if he admits that, then he has to concede to what Pure Rigor's been saying, and Pure Rigor is saying that you're trying to say that the latitude change is what's causing the precession, right? And the only link they've got is a correlation that matches their model.
No,
there's no proof of causation here.
So what's your point then, Omni?
That's not the correct way of saying it.
Okay, so what is the correct way of saying it?
Is that we have this hypothesis that the Earth is spinning. That hypothesis, plus the model, holds that changing your latitude should change the precession. So if you test, you say, so this is what my hypothesis should happen. So now I'm going to do this and see if it does happen.
You just said exactly what Roots said.
That's exactly.
You said the hypothesis plus this, plus the model.
Omni.
Therefore, it correlates.
What's the difference between what you said?
No, it correlates. Therefore, when we test it, we get scientific evidence in favor of it. That's
like I want you to know. Like I just want to know what's the difference between what you said and what Ruth said.
Two different poles of magnets together.
Yeah, you get a correlation. Right.
Therefore,
you get a correlation
with my theory that this is magnetic force. Yes.
Right. So nothing exclusive. Awesome.
Omni, dude.
You just think it could be wrong. Right?
Dude, I don't even what fucking rail this guy's on. That's crazy, Omni. Like, I don't really feel like you're like looking for truth or looking for information. You're just
to be fair,
espousing some sort of scientific method or something, and that's more what you're interested in. Opposing others.
I'm sorry.
He's pushing and pulling it to make it fit what he wants. Go ahead, dude.
Yeah, but to be fair, the whole trend of tonight, I'm not saying you guys, I'm just saying like whatever, but the whole trend of tonight was making, so we learned this in 3rd grade, not even, right? CER, claim evidence reasoning. The whole trend of tonight is making a bunch of fucking claims and not having any actual evidence to back it up. It's just a bunch of fucking stupid opinions. So what the fuck are we arguing about?
Dude, what you consider evidence? Hold on.
Shut up.
Hold on, dude. What you consider evidence, bro?
I don't have to ever provide
what you guys
provide a reference.
What you guys consider evidence is appealing to authority. As long as you have like
no.
Yeah.
That's not how appeal to authority works.
Listen, what I consider evidence is providing shit that backs up your claim that aligns with how the world functions or how the actual world operates and what keeps the world, actually operating.
Don't have that, man.
He almost said spinning.
Yeah, okay, well, I mean, I guarantee you none of you can play Kerbal Space Program, a video game, and even use your logic and land on a fucking planet in a video game.
It's my first interaction with you. It's my first interaction with you, man. I don't know how long you've been in this topic of discussion. Of course you don't care. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, because you don't care.
I mean,
you're a mod and you insult people. Fuck off. I muted you.
Who do I insult?
Fuck it, dude. Who cares, bro? They deserve it.
No. This is important in the nature. Like, if the whole point of us talking is the nature of like trying to come to some form of congenial sort of proposition that like
we need to come to simple.
No, it's not reason. Like, we're not coming to some sort of reasoning, dude. Like, it's more or less like we need to come sort of coherence.
What are the dude? Hold on. What are the 3 types?
Yeah, I know
of
they've been
reasoning?
arguing about this for years. They're retards.
What are the 3 types of reasoning?
This is okay.
He doesn't even know. Look, he doesn't.
You look like Ed and
completely out of your element.
Laser. I'm just going to let you know, man. Like, from everything you're saying right now, you're more interested in arguing rather than actually coming to like a coherent, like agreeable point between two people. And I don't mind that you disagree with someone. I don't think you're necessarily doing that. I don't think you're doing that.
I would love to do what you just said. But even somebody in the chat said there's no point. They've been arguing about this for years, and that's fucking insane. Like, ain't it daytime for some of you guys? Don't you got jobs or some shit?
And yet you're here.
Yeah, you're right. I work for myself. I have my own company.
So Laser. Okay.
To why you're here.
Just to let you know, bro.
I'm here because you're entertainment, LOL.
Laser. I'm just gonna let you know, bro. Like, dude, just stop for a sec. I own my own company as well. I operate my own operations. The reason why I'm here is because this is a very important conversation at large to be had within like what I think of the matter of like what's going on between all of the human beings. If you don't want to be here and you think it's all relatively done and solved, exactly. So you're here.
But I'm staying here because
don't dismiss the answers that you're receiving. That's all I'm asking.
Over 15 clips of you as a mod insulting people, and it's going to be reported in a ticket.
Fuck, dude. Yeah, like, so submit a ticket.
I'm looking forward to it, bro. I'm looking forward to it.
Log a ticket and shut the fuck up, dude.
You think
seriously?
So? Hey, how about you suck your mom's titties?
Go log a ticket, dude.
All right, you
laser, bro. These guys are going to dismiss you. Like, these are my mates, okay? But if you're going to like take on that attitude, fuck, man, we're gonna annihilate you. You're not welcome here. You can just fuck off.
Yeah, you can go suck my dick.
Yeah, exactly. Like, watch this.
I'm actually muting you this time.
Yeah, you're done. Cool. We can move on. So Omnivore and I think Lion wanted to entertain one another. How are we going to do this?
We have to listen to Omni.
Well, we're at a standstill because they're asking for a citation, which I cannot provide right now. But all you got to do, bro, is pull up like Stanford, any credible source that's reliable enough for them to accept.
Lion, they don't agree with you.
You know you got to manipulate the independent variable, Omni. The
I'm not
manipulated was the latitude.
I'm not denying that you can have an independent variable regarding descriptive science, which is what he's describing, pun intended. But when you talk about like experimentation, when you're doing it like an official experiment, you need an independent variable. You know that.
Being now, a flat earther does not immunize you from having to back up your points.
If you're just observing the moon and the moon cycles and the phases of the moon, or bonobo apes in their natural habitat, right? And you're documenting what's going on, and you're predicting, at what time the female is going to go into heat or whatever. That's fine when you're doing descriptive science, right? Observational science. But when you start conflating observational science with experimental science, which has been done since Francis Bacon, and try to say that you don't need an independent variable, you're going literally against the grain. You're willfully going against the grain. Because I know he knows better, but to save face, he wants to conflate observational science with experimental science for some odd reason. Go ahead.
I will meet you in the middle, Omni.
What you're saying about how those, how science works is just it's not actually true. You're just saying you think it should be true, but it's not.
All right, go ahead. Pull up your scientific method. All right, pull up your citation for the scientific method.
All right, well, I was almost done, Puriger. There's nothing wrong with having your independent variable for the rotation of Earth be the latitude. There's nothing wrong with that.
I want a citation.
Yeah, there is
for your scientific method.
Yeah, there is. There's a problem with that. But go ahead, show us your scientific method. Let's break it down. But there is a problem with you using latitude as proof that the Earth is rotating under a pendulum. Massive problem.
Step 4.
But I don't think you're ready to hear it.
4.
So let's break it down.
Scientific method on the board.
I have a hypothesis that says if this is happening, now we're going to go back to the first Foucault's pendulum, right? So it's a novel prediction, right? No one's built a Foucault's pendulum before.
Damn, that guy's ugly.
Right?
Step 1. Let's do this together. Step 1. Observation. What are you observing?
I'm observing the rotation of the Earth.
No, you're not.
No, we're not.
Are you in space right now? Where are we?
Yes.
Fantasyland?
How did you fuck this up so quickly?
Because it's
Roots. What is your observation? Come on.
How are we observing that the Earth is rotating?
No, that's not the observation. That's not the observation.
All right. I guess you need a flat earther to do this for you then.
No, again, that's
so what you're observing. Let's just do it. No. We're not getting distracted. We're going through it. So observation. What are we observing? We're observing a pendulum swing. Yeah. We're watching it slowly process.
No.
We're watching it slowly process over time.
No, you're wrong. That's not true.
That is step 1.
No, that's not the observation. No, that is not true. So the observation is that I see everything move in a way that it comports with the Earth rotating around an axis. All right, that's the observation.
What's the difference between what
say that again?
And he said?
I observe everything
he has to attach
working
a presupposition
that
to
comports with the conditions of an Earth rotating on its axis.
That's not a real observation.
It is a real observation. Sure, it is.
No, it's not. That's your
now
belief.
You have to observe.
No, it's not my belief. It certainly is what all kinds of other people came to the conclusion of. They're studying, how the sun sets, how the moon rises and falls, and they're coming to the conclusion that
Omnivore, shut the fuck up.
It's a rotating Earth. How ships appear over the horizon, so they think it's a globe. So they have all of this observation that they think means that the Earth is a globe,
is
and
not
that
going to help your case.
Hey, Ruth, can you walk through it? If we started step 1 and said the sky is moving, do you think you could still walk through it?
Well, and relate that to and then set up an experiment using Foucault's pendulum.
Roots.
Well,
So you have your
again, I think if he starts barely about the sky moving, he's gonna end up with the phenomenon of not Earth. The sky moving phenomenon,
Guys,
he's not gonna be able to
Hammerize is being
isolate the
polite,
variable of the
and
Earth.
so Don is just always going to
Thanks, Tommy.
overtalk
Never
him.
mind.
Foucault has nothing to do with the sky. Foucault literally has nothing to do with the sky. That's just
Yeah,
a
but he's
bad
starting
explanation. So
with the sky.
I think you were on the right track. So observation correct. And what's the next step?
Okay, I'm glad one of you's finally flipping admitted. Right, so step 1, the pendulum swings and we see a precession over time. Okay, step 2, we ask a question, why? Okay, now you guys claim that that's because the Earth's rotating.
No,
that would be your question.
What in the question is you're missing something. You said this rate depends on what?
Yeah, we ask why is this happening?
No. The question is depends on what? Depends on what is the question.
That's what you're getting, Hammer.
It depends on the latitude.
Is it the sky moving or is it the Earth moving? Those are the two propositions, Hammer.
You can't jump to latitude until you establish why it's moving in the first place.
It's one of the two.
That's the whole idea behind it. That's the whole idea behind it.
I want to point something out to Hammerize real quick.
If you say this other variable causes it to move differently, you still haven't established what causes it to move in the first place or process.
Boom! Get him, Rigor.
You have to establish why it processes.
Sounds like they need a timeout.
It's one step at a time, right? You say, I got this pendulum swinging. Okay, now it processes. Why does it process? You have to answer that question before you move latitude and say it processes differently.
Let me respond to Hammerize, and then we can go.
Yep.
No, let Hammerize respond. You are horrible.
Pure Rigor is very triggered.
You're horrible at this.
So when Foucault was setting up the Foucault's pendulum for the World Fair, he was doing this to show the rotation of the Earth, right? That's what the Foucault's pendulum was done to demonstrate.
Erroneously. That's the story, correct?
So right, well, that's what he wrote. So
we don't need to worry about the history. Omni, you're not taking us down this path. We're talking about how to conduct an experiment regarding.
Hammerize said something shut up, and I'm going to respond to Hammerize.
We don't need to know the backstory. Right? We're talking about an observation, right? And we want to turn this into an experiment, okay?
Hammerize about this.
We start with the observation in question. We don't need the backstory and the history with your loaded globe
Can
lore.
I just please respond to Hammerize?
Yeah, but you're derailing the conversation, Omni. You're bringing it into the origins of the Foucault pendulum. Nobody gives a shit. We're trying to figure out why the pendulum does what it does, and you want to talk about the nuts and bolts of how it was put together. The fuck you on about?
Exactly.
Yeah, Omni, does it make sense for you to want to engage with Hammerize when you've got the interlocutors coming from the other side, dude?
Hammerize, can you hear me?
Can I do
okay.
Risky?
Guys, stop.
Set up the experiment.
Everyone stop for a second. Okay, just stop.
Understanding that the Earth is rotating, and he's doing this to demonstrate the rotation of the Earth. Now,
okay, he got muted. I don't know why that happened. It wasn't me, but he wants to seem to want to talk to Hammerize to consolidate his position or opinion or something.
He should just tap out and let fucking Hammerize actually talk about it.
It's some set of observations.
Yeah, I know, but they want to consolidate their position to argue against it. So it seems reasonable if they want to strategize openly in the public forum to do so. Whatever that may be. It means that they actually don't understand their own propositions of why they're arguing against it. But if they would necessarily want to do so, I mean,
I don't think
can't argue against
Omni
it.
is arguing against me. I don't think.
All right, then let me get you hammered in.
Well, then argue solve your problems and then come to us with a consolidated position. That would be ideal.
It's be a part of a secret club, secretly message Omni. What should I say? Omni, so what's later? It doesn't work that way. I don't think Omni is going
he invoked you. He invoked you to have a conversation. He was appealing to you, so it's not us appealing to you. It's him appealing to you.
He couldn't handle the heat.
I don't. Yeah, exactly. I don't think that. What I said, Omni, do you mind if I just interject? When I say interject, just add something. I.e., he said pushing, which I know was a figure of speech. I said the correct wording would be you don't push anything. It's basically you let it rest. You let it.
Oh my god!
Right, and I explained why. using the
Boring.
to burn the retaining string.
Yeah, that's fine. So we established that, right? We gave all that leeway. We're like, all right, yeah, we'll be like, oh, okay, now we know why the pendulum moves from one point to another initially. But we're talking about the precession now. What causes it to precess? That's step 2. Trying to figure out, what are we looking at? What's going on with this pendulum? It's precessing.
I'll give it. That's
Why
all
is it
we got.
precessing?
All you got is a precession difference. You don't have no proof of the Earth turning. You have a correlation. That's it.
That's not how it works anyway. Thanks for
You have proof that when you
Don.
Omni.
Can he walk through the 4-step method up to experiment and the scientific method?
Omni, would you mind finish what you were saying? I really want to hear.
I know. It's because it's a real conversation. But okay.
Okay, let the Globers work out their position together, and we can argue against it. Go ahead.
What Foucault's observation was that the Earth was spinning. It could have been a number of things, but he wasn't setting up the pendulum to decide if the Earth was spinning. He thought his understanding was that the Earth is rotating around the axis, which was, as far as I'm aware, pretty much everybody's at that time. And so, whatever observation that was, we don't know. I agree it's not the sky per se, but whatever that was, that led him to his hypothesis, the Earth is spinning. And so then that prediction is that the pendulum should precess in this specific way.
Right. You've proved the pendulum precesses. So not that the Earth is spinning. Thank you for admitting you assume the Earth is spinning. We all agree now. You assumed it. Awesome.
Yeah, so you're basically conceding that he affirmed the consequent, because if he concludes based off of observation, right, using descriptive science, that the reason the pendulum's precessing is because the Earth is spinning, we all know, right, that correlation does not mean what?
Causation.
The correlation does not mean
statistics,
causation.
Zion. This is in statistics.
No,
you should understand.
This is logic. Dude. This is logic. Correlation does not mean causation, dude.
Before you quote them.
And you have not isolated the independent variable, which is the Earth in motion, right? You can't manipulate that. So the best you could do, is observational descriptive science.
That is not your IV.
You can't.
You're wrong so badly. That is not your IV.
No, it's not. I'm not wrong.
Lion's got a great point.
You can't.
Lion, stop interrupting him.
You cannot affirm the conclusion based off of a observation, solely an observation. Even if you move around on the Earth's surface, right, at different latitudes, you're simply documenting observations at different latitudes of different precessions. That doesn't isolate the cause of the precession. We're arguing right now. The flat earthers are arguing against what you guys claim to be the cause, and you keep bringing up observational descriptive science to make the conclusion. That's affirming the consequent. Textbook affirming the consequent. Go ahead.
That's your understanding. Well, that's not how it works. That's not what it is. Yes, we do have scientific, and I think Roots was on it. I.e., we said, he's saying, okay, this thing, we let it go, and then it kind of slowly rotate over time. Then we say the rate of this rotation depends on latitude, and then we create a hypothesis based on it. Then we say if Earth rotates, then the focal pendulum rate would depend on the latitude. And then we start doing tests, and we say, okay, as an example, we go 150 degrees over our time, the sign of latitude.
You did it again.
Yeah, you did it again. You're affirming the consequent. Bro, listen.
But that's scientific method.
Listen. No, it's not. No, it's not. Listen, bro. Listen.
The scientific method.
Bro, I'll give it to you. I'll give you the affirming the consequent, right? If P, then Q. Q, therefore P. That's affirming the consequent. Textbook affirming the consequent, dude.
So I'll walk you through it, the scientific method, right? I would say, all right, this is how it works. My independent variable, right, is this the candle, right, burning the string, right? I can manipulate that flame or that string that's holding the pendulum in place to cause the pendulum to move. That's what I could say. I could be like, all right, if I cut this string, will this pendulum move? Okay, there's my cause. I got the pendulum to move. I could be like, yeah, that's independent variable, right? Dependent is the pendulum moving. All right, now I take it a step further and I say, I just let it run. And I say, oh shit, it's precessing. And then I'm going to look at it and be like, okay, it's precessing. And I'm going to say, why is it precessing? Then I'm going to have to find an independent variable that I can manipulate to put as my cause of why it's precessing. If I can't establish that, anything past that is correlation. I can't skip that step and be like, well, if I move it 20 feet, it swings differently. Well, I don't even know why it swings to begin with.
Yes,
I just know it swings. If I move it over here, it swings differently. That's cool. But I have not established, I have not gotten to this. I haven't gotten to the step where I figured out why it moves in the first place.
Rigor hitting home run.
You are predicting. That's the whole idea with this. We are predicting something. You say we saw a move. It's not what you say. We say, oh, I just saw a move and therefore just. It doesn't work that way. I'm not saying because of a certain movement, therefore the Earth rotates. I make a prediction. I say if the Earth rotates, then in this scenario, as an example, if I'm in London, which one it's 51.5, it will be 11.7 degree per hour. That's exactly what I get.
But you're skipping.
London
I asked you a simple question, right? You're using the scientific method, right? So I put forth the question, right? In your experiment, in your chain of reasoning, I put forth the question. Before you jump to all these extra steps, I say, you caused the pendulum to move. You observed it processing.
I'm not causing the pendulum to move.
Tell me why it's processing. What method did you use to determine what causes it to process?
I'm not causing the pendulum to move. You have a hypothesis.
Yes, you burnt the string.
The horse. Okay, do me a favor then. Okay, forget about this. Give me a scientific method. I literally put it to you what I've been helping my kids with.
Make an observation. Step 1. You want to walk through it, Hammerize?
No. I'm not teaching you anything. You can pay me for this, but I'm not teaching you. I actually put a screenshot in. I put a picture of the book with Teacher's Scientific Method, a science book. Year 11 GCSE. Okay, this is what they teach the students and kids in the UK.
Okay, step 1, make an observation.
Ask a question why something happens or how something works. Step 2.
Okay, so
Step 3, make a prediction. Step 4, carry out a test.
Step
All right, so your observation is the pendulum processing, right? Now, say now you have to figure out why it's processing. You can't get past that phase.
No, I'm not. To be honest, Roots was the only one nailed this thing. Step 1 was an observation. If there was a question, something like that.
What is your question?
Hypothesis out of it. Then make a prediction.
Yeah, what is your question? This is where you have to design.
Does this rate of rotation depends on the latitude? Is it yes or no?
Oh, so your question isn't is the Earth rotating then? Awesome.
Does the rate depends on the latitude?
Right, so you're not proving the Earth is rotating. You're proving a differential.
Rotation. The rotation has nothing. No, you misquoted me. Rotation has nothing to do with Earth rotation at this point. My question is, I have my observations. This pendulum, okay, and slowly rotate over time. Slowly rotate. I'm not talking about the Earth rotation yet. I said the string itself rotating over time.
So what's your question?
This apparent rotation depends on the latitude. That's my IV now. And I create a hypothesis.
So that's the question. Does the rotation rate
rotation, not Earth rotation right now.
On the latitude?
The question is the rotation, the swing rotation based on depend on the latitude.
Sure, the swing rotation, whatever you're right, and then when you
no, dude, we already
rotation not is he mad? I'm calling his rotation term precession. Is that where I'm?
Okay, question. Are we
Hammer? Listen. We can listen. Hammer. We can grant you that you're making accurate predictions based off of the latitude. That's fine. We can grant you that. But to then conclude that the reason you have predictive power is because the Earth is in motion would be affirming the consequence. You understand that?
Say it again. Say it again. No, let Lion say it again. Say it again clearly. It's really important.
We can grant you that you have predictive power and that the pendulum processes at different rates based off of the latitude. But to conclude, right, that's mutually exclusive to the Earth in motion would be affirming the consequence.
If I give it just purely on one observation, I would give it to you. I agree with you. That's affirming the consequence. But this is something you can repeat. It's latitude. Again, there's an IV in this, and based on IV, the numbers change.
But you're experimenting.
It doesn't matter. That doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
No,
It really doesn't matter how many times you repeat it. It is a test, but it's not a test to prove that the Earth is spinning. It's a test to prove. It's a test that proves that the precession changes depending on latitude, and that's it.
Okay.
I got one follow-up.
Okay, so
that's actually
I have a
what's
question for
happening
you.
here.
I have a question for you then. Why do we when we want the formula for this? Hang on one second. Let me ask Roots a question. So, Roots, here's the thing. In the formula, the precession rate should be 15 degrees per hour. 15 degrees divided by hour times the sin of the latitude. Okay, sin of latitude. What does the 15 degrees stands for?
Why does he think that he can jump the gun and ignore the fact that the angle to the sun? Okay, so listen to this question. Listen for 10 seconds. If all your correlations line up in the difference in latitude, why can I not come along and say, oh well, what's causing that change in precession is the angle to the sun. The sun must be the cause because we're at a different angle to the sun. Nothing to do with the rotating globe on a flat Earth. Because on flat Earth, the angle to the sun caused a difference in precession.
Have you seen?
Why can I not say that? Why?
So have you seen how the focal pendulum been set up?
So you don't care.
What does have sun to do with it? I would love to hear your excuse on the sun. Don't get me wrong. I would love to see why you think it's the sun. Latitude and sun
is qualified by the angle to the sun, and we said that when we change the angle to the sun, you get these different rates. And so I can just be like, there's some magnetic connection from the sun to everything on Earth, or there's a dark energy. There must be a dark matter there because I don't see it and I can't test it yet. But I have this phenomenon, and I could either assume it's because the Earth is rotating, or I could assume it's because there's dark matter. You haven't excluded either one.
But it has because it doesn't matter about it. As an example, you do it inside your house. What matters as your IV again is your latitude. That's the part you seem to not get. What does sky or sun has anything to do with this? You put it inside a room where it doesn't see the sun or it doesn't care about the sun. You do it at night. You're going to get the same.
It's dark energy. It's called a hypothesis. I have a hypothesis that dark energy will make a pendulum precess at different rates depending on the latitude. Boom! The pendulum precess at different rates according to latitude. Dark energy made it happen. That's your same fucking story.
Okay, but that's
exactly what they're doing.
How does dark energy? How would you even introduce dark energy into this?
You couldn't. How are you going to introduce Earth spinning? You can't.
I have a good question.
I
would love to see the formula which you use to predict this. Number. Wait. I would love to see the formula again.
I already gave it to you, dude.
And attach dark formula to predict a number. How about this?
That's just moving the goalpost.
The formula goes like this: if P, then Q, Q therefore P, affirming the consequence.
It's a bit like, so here's an example. There was this theory back in the day that diseases were caused by foul smells and dirty areas, and there was a real correlation there. Unsanitary areas did tend to correlate with disease, so they concluded that the bad smells caused the illness. It wasn't later until they started to microscopes were invented that they actually realized, even though there's a correlation, that's not the cause. So this is not a good way to establish cause, because as we've proven in science multiple times, that a correlation isn't a cause, and that you can have a match, but it doesn't mean you've proven the cause.
Again, that I get it, and you brought a very good example. So something like microscope can help. At this point, right now, at this moment, even let's say if it's dark energy, right now, I have a very, very simple formula which is doing this for me. And it really depends on your latitude, and based on your latitude, you're going to get different numbers. How about this? You do this. You set up Foucault pendulum. Actually, you can buy Foucault pendulum devices for $3,000-$4,000. I don't know, £2,000.
It doesn't matter, dude. It doesn't matter. A strong correlation might lead to a partly useful model. Great.
That's not how.
If the interpretation is wrong, it doesn't matter whether that it partly works as a model. or if it matches Earth's predictions.
It is predicted,
especially if the Earth was backwards engineered from what we experience in reality, then we would expect that.
But why do I go 15 degree? Why do I use in my phone 15 degree?
Why do you use what?
Why
15
do I use
degrees
15
drift?
degree in my formula?
Because of the precession.
Well, what is a full rotation?
Of what? Of anything, 360 degree.
Full rotation of Earth is 360 degrees, yes, no?
360 degree, full rotation, yeah?
Yes, divided by 24, they give me 15. Okay, so if I now say based on that, then my latitude, I get the numbers I want. What does it prove? Apart from my latitude, which I know in my IV now.
It proves all it proves is that you have a correlation. You have a correlation to the model that you've placed ahead of time. Yeah,
not a correlation. It's just the evidence. It's just the evidence to what I predict and suggest.
Yeah, and disease clustering a foul smell and dirty areas is evidence that unsanitary areas. No, there's a correlation there, yeah, but it's not the cause, is it? We later found out that no, bad smells don't cause the illness.
That's the thing. We didn't, as an example, now in this instance, I'm making hypothesis. I mean, let's forget about the steps. Anyway, the hypothesis would be F rotates. Now, this thing I created it, okay, which I don't know what it is. Like you say, it could be electromagnetic, it could be wind, it could be anything. So I go, okay, when I set this up, I'm going to try to make sure there's no wind. I'm considering that, what type of string I'm using. I'm making sure, it's freely moving, etc. So, remove all the possibility. And I go, okay, my known latitude right now is, whatever. This is my known latitude, okay. When I'm using this, guess what? I'm getting the same latitude as an example.
Yeah, and guess what they were getting? Guess what they were? But dude, guess what they were getting around unsanitary areas? Disease, with bad smells in the area. They were getting disease.
Yeah, I don't know if
what does that prove? Do you know what? Do you know what? You could also say that. In fact, I'm not going to get into medical shit. But there are plenty of examples that I could show you where we have a theory. We decided that this correlation was strong enough. It was the most likely. So yeah, it's probably going to be that. And then we find out later it was wrong. So can you admit that there is a chance that you could be wrong?
I give you this.
I give
you that. Okay, but here's the thing. You literally you said you make a hypothesis. Say, bad smell, disease. Therefore, bad smell is disease. Something like that. Okay. I'm sorry for butchering it, but let's go with that. Okay. Then when you run tests and this, there and that, all sort of things, guess what? It becomes negative because actually it's not the root cause. It's not the cause of it. Is this thing we got Foucault pendulum and it's repeatedly time and time again without it's giving us predicted numbers. It's given what we expect to have.
It's dark matter.
What's the formula for it? Given the formula.
The same as your latitude formula.
No, you cannot have it.
So you're interrupting me as I'm talking. How are you going to hear my answer?
One.
So I said two words, and I said the same as this, and you immediately interrupted. You didn't hear what I was going to say.
So give me the formula. That's all I said.
I think that may be why you have a scientific lack. Your patience and understanding might not be
about that.
Fair to other people, maybe that's the issue.
What I'm saying. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you. Sorry.
You're good. Look, man. If I was to say, awesome, your correlation, your guess of the Earth spinning is the strongest right now. That doesn't mean that you get to say it's a guarantee. Everyone's agreeing you have a correlation. Right? But you can keep coming off like you have an exclusive position.
Causation.
Yeah.
You have an established cause.
Exclusive causation, which is not fair. We've all given you
the crowing.
Your phenomenon with you, your observation of there's a pendulum rotating. I tried to walk through this with you. You wanted to prove that phenomenon. You weren't even starting off trying to prove the Earth rotating. But then at the end of it, you want to go, yeah, see, I just proved the Earth rotating. And it was taking exercise. That's crazy.
This is like
when you say you didn't even start to F rotate, the whole idea we're doing this, we're trying to get there. Again, what is the hypothesis?
You're trying to explain observation, right?
We have
Dude, we've done the hypothesis. We've agreed on the hypothesis.
No,
but the hypothesis isn't testing the cause of why the pendulum swings in the first place.
Which you literally contradicted yourself.
Either the sky is rotating or the Earth is rotating. You've got two options here, fundamentally. Okay. The sky is rotating or the Earth is rotating. That's the fundamental.
We know it's not sky rotating.
Let me use a scientific method to convey my point.
How do you know it's not the sky rotating?
Let me use a scientific method to convey my point, right? It'll be about umbrellas, right? So when you go outside and you see a lot of people with umbrellas, right? You'll notice like the ground's always wet. So therefore, that's why the ground's wet. People opening umbrellas is what causes the ground to become wet.
That's a good correlation.
That's not a correlation.
It's a perfect correlation. Example. But the fact is, rain causes the ground to get wet, right? So we lined up a correlation that's it's factual, right? We can observe this and be like, oh, well, yeah, obviously when you go outside, you see a bunch of umbrellas, you're like, all right, yeah, the ground's wet. All that is a correlation. It's not proving anything. It's just saying when this happens, that happens. We don't know why.
It doesn't prove anything. I agree.
Yeah, we don't know why the ground's wet. That's what I mean.
Fine.
The problem is, Hammerize, Omni thought it was scientific evidence that the cause was that the Earth is rotating under the pendulum. That's how we got into this mess.
So that's why I said you kind of contradicted yourself. We went through the scientific method. We will not go through it. And your own words is pretty much quite nicely described the scientific method behind it. The question, you got a hypothesis. And your own words is pretty much quite nice. Nicely describe the scientific method behind it. The question, you got a hypothesis and whatnot. Okay, so observe, question, and hypothesis, and with them. Here's the last important part. So when you said the ground is wet, are you making a prediction? She can test and repeat at this point. What is your test and repeat? What is your tested and repeated prediction of ground getting wet because of rain?
When people open umbrellas, the ground's going to become wet.
Then the ground. Okay, so I'm going outside. I'm going outside. It's raining. Okay, so I'm going outside. I can see it's raining. I open my umbrella. The ground is still wet. Okay, I'm like, okay, it's raining.
Well, you get it.
If I'm inside the house,
you get it. You get the correlation is not the causation. No, but that's good.
Where's the prediction now? How do you predict?
The prediction is when you see a lot of umbrellas open, the ground will be wet.
But then
so therefore,
that
the cause of the ground being wet is a lot of people opening their umbrellas.
It's raining, yes. Also, you can see it's raining. Can you?
Oh, maybe the umbrellas opening causes it to rain.
But that's not.
Fuck, that's
okay.
a correlation.
No, but again, that's quite easy.
Step further.
That's
but if
very
you
easy.
start
That's very
steps,
easy. Okay. Easy
right?
to
But
rebut.
if you start
go
skipping
outside,
steps,
you don't see any
like
umbrella.
you
It's
skip
still
the
raining.
step of establishing what causes
That's
the procession,
fine.
you're never going to learn
fine.
anything. You're never
But
going to
that
have
is
any
fine.
like
No, that is
real
fine.
like.
But again, I go
thorough
outside.
process that
It is
use the
raining.
scientific method.
Again, I'll go outside. It is raining, but there's no umbrella. At this one, I know umbrella is not cause of the rain, correct?
No, I say I go outside. I see people with umbrellas.
Oh, well, what?
You're just going to
but
change the. You're just going to change the scenario to argue against it.
No,
I'm
but
saying when I go
not,
outside, I see a lot of umbrellas open.
the
That's
problem
my
right now is your
observation.
example is. I'm just using your own example. I go outside in the same time. Let's say you live at the right side of the street. I live at the left side of the street. I go outside. We both of us same time outside. You see a lot of umbrella. You say, "Oh, rain umbrella related." I go outside. I don't see any umbrellas. We're still raining.
Well, then you change. My observation. Yes. Wow. Okay, you have a different observation. Therefore, you have no fucking like. What are you building your hypothesis on? A different observation? Okay, fine, do that. It's not applicable. It's completely fucking irrelevant to what my observation is. Okay. Because first step, you have to observe something. You're saying I didn't observe what you did. Well, obviously.
Obviously,
then your results will be different.
At this point, if we both sit down together in a pub, having over a pint of beer, okay, and go, okay, by the way, I have a theory. What's your theory? Or my theory is, my hypothesis is rain is caused because of umbrella. And I go, oh, actually, no, rain is not caused. And then we suddenly we match data. Okay, data doesn't match. Then we just realize, okay, it has nothing to do with it. Okay, I'm just giving the short version. It's not, it's right. Automatically, okay, so we know at this point, rain is not caused by umbrella. Because
no, we haven't established that.
Contradicting evidence.
We haven't established that because I haven't observed that once.
You have. I took a picture.
You did, and you said trust me.
I recorded.
Said,
I'm recording
I haven't
it.
observed that. I'm saying my observation, sticking to my observation. I build a hypothesis off of my observation.
Yes.
And you say I have a different observation. I say, well, that's not my experience.
How about this? Okay.
You just say, okay, now, all right, let's put this.
Wait, we call each other. You call me and say, hey, listen, Hammer,
pendulum.
It's raining. Look, I can prove it to you. I come to your place. It's raining. Oh, okay, fine. People standing outside, and I ask them to close the umbrella. It carry on raining. What happens then?
All right, so now I'm going to put this to the full call pendulum. I set up a full call pendulum. It did not process the way it's supposed to. Now I'm putting your question to me. I'm putting my question back to you.
Oh, no, okay, fine. Okay, I'm going to ask you. Okay, give me the reason. What did you do? What was the steps? How did you set up your full call pendulum?
Right now, it's a bunch of other shit. Right.
No, because it's important. You're creating a device which you want to test something, and you're expecting some sort of thing. Again, it goes back into a lot of things. You have to think. As an example, when you say Foucault pendulum, a lot of people think you can do it in 1 meter. No, it necessarily has to be long. It uses a specific string. Again, you're not going to do something that can. Classic string wouldn't work for good reasons.
Yeah, we'll say in my analogy, I bought it from the store. Right? It's like fucking like. we'll say like a
Is it fit for the
$20,000
purpose?
model. I bought it.
Is it
I
fit for
set
the
it up. I
purpose?
followed the instructions the best I could, and it didn't process. First go.
Okay, we go through it and see why it didn't process. Then at this point, we can go through and see.
Well, then I could just say, well,
but here's the problem with your thing.
Spinning.
If I set it up, if 100 other people set it up, it works. What does it say?
Well, what does it say if like you're the one person that went outside and you didn't see any umbrellas, but it's raining, but 99 other people went outside, saw umbrellas, and think the umbrellas caused rain?
But again, I would say argue opposite. It could be 199 people still going out and not seeing the rain.
You're just appealing to
you see, the rain example is not a great example.
At this point, it becomes an argument. You're admitting it's an open argument at this point, which is why the Earth rotation evidence isn't exclusive. It's an open argument.
It's
you need to
very
stand with us
exclusive.
and say that Omni is claiming it was.
I would say it's very exclusive for a very good reason.
No,
because of the rotation, because of I go 360 degree a day. Okay, divided by 24 hours, I will get 15 degree in an hour. Okay, how else would you? No. Unless you want to, unless
there's something else. Unless there's something else causing it.
The ether, the angle to the sun, the dark matter.
How do we know dark matter wouldn't work? Because when you say no,
solar wind causes it. The angle to the solar wind, that's what causes it.
Okay, what is the okay? So here's the part you do not understand. In order for
by the way, somebody hot mic.
We use maths. We use a mathematical formula to this. What is your formula? How would you? What is the formula for this? What is your equation for this? I would love to see it.
There's an amount of solar wind equal to the degree of force differential that you would have from differential.
Let's do this. Let's do this.
Yeah, you could make it.
No, we don't need to do the math. Listen, Omni. Is somebody hot micing, by the way?
No doubt.
I don't hear it.
By the way, Rich, I need to shoot in 5-10 minutes. I'm not.
I'm watching Rixky's. I'm in Rixky's.
My bad.
No, it's my fault. I didn't know I was in there. But can I just make this point? I've been waiting to make this point.
Right? Can I not verify the math?
That's my point.
Thank you.
Yeah. My point is, you listen. The observation, great, fine, yeah. Pendulum swing. We asked the question: is it caused by Earth's rotation? Then your hypothesis, and this is what I said to Omni, this is where you have a problem. If Earth rotates, then you're going to assume that if it correlates with latitude, that the cause must be the Earth, the ground under the pendulum. Now, the problem you've got with that is you've already assumed that this change in latitude is going to be caused by the Earth being a spinning ball. Yeah, you've made an assumption in the hypothesis to begin with, because remember, the question is supposed to be, is it caused by Earth's rotation? You've already assumed Earth's rotation. So then you're doing a hypothesis that basically is going to reify, using your math, like was just said by Don, you're going to reify that this proves Earth's rotation. Therefore, this is the cause of the pendulum's rotation. It's a big circle jerk.
You finally understood.
That's the problem.
You finally understood. We'd already proved it.